You also have your battle buddies that are with you all the time. They're not only your college friends, but those are the people that you're with doing land navigation and, you know, doing different physical fitness tests. And you're with them for almost 4 years. And then you get sent to a new assignment with, you know, different people from all over the world who's been in the Army, you know, longer than you. And then you realize, you know, I'm no longer in that safety zone, that safety net that you had in college. So it was almost as though you kind of left your, you know, mom and dad's house again. So the transition, it's not that it was hard. It's going to be a bit of a culture shock, and that'll probably happen with no matter what assignment that you have. But you got to think, you're in college for 4 years, and your cadre, they do kind of, you know, they cater to you. They take care of you. It's your parents away from your parents. And then next thing you realize, you're a leader. You're in front of these troops, you're in front of these specialists and these privates and these NCOs, and you're leading them to war, or you're leading them to training. So you're no longer the cadet. You're now the boss, the person in charge, the one that they're looking to for leadership. So I think that was the biggest transition, that I now had a responsibility of all these people under me. Someone's child, someone's brother, someone's sister, someone's husband, someone's wife. So that was the biggest transition for me, now being the person out front and not in the ranks.
What were some difficulties or challenges you encountered as a cadet in your college?
I think in college, the most difficulties that I had is not really the physical fitness, because I was always involved in sports. I came from a good background with discipline and order, so it wasn't hard for me to follow orders. What I learned quickly in the beginning was always be at the right place, right time, right uniform. But the challenges that I did have, one was not being able to swim. And as you know, as an ROTC, soon-to-be commissioned officer, you have to take the CWST, so I didn't know how to do that. And then there was a lot of tactical stuff. I don't really fancy the tactical, going out and doing land navigation, sleeping in the field. Although, I mean, I did it, I ended up enjoying it and ended up liking it. I even became the Ranger Challenge Team captain. But just like little minor things like that, even land navigation, especially at nighttime, I didn't like. That was difficult for me, but you know, I overcame that. I had a good instructor who taught me the little secrets of it. But overall, for me, I'm not a tactical person. I'm more into the strategic part of the military. So that's pretty much for me.
Okay. Have your mindset and leadership skills changed since coming in as a second lieutenant and now captain?
Yeah, it's changed big time. I would say for me, I came in soft-hearted. And like I said, I wasn't used to always being out front, although that's really what ROTC trains you to do as an officer. I think, for lack of better words, I came in as more of a pushover, very nonchalant, very soft, and I had to learn quickly. You're in front of troops. You're a leader. You have to make decisions. Stop second-guessing yourself, which is something I would do all the time, rather than follow my gut feeling. And that's a really important thing, because following your gut feeling or your instinct can, you know, make sure to lead your troops out of a dangerous situation. Also, just in briefing, as an officer, you're going to have to learn to brief a lot. PowerPoint is going to be your best friend, and you don't want to mess up on those briefs, especially when you're briefing a higher-ranking officer. And I think the most difficult thing for me was the fact that I was military intelligence, and they placed me in a aviation unit, and I didn't know anything about aviation. And I don't think I took it as seriously, because I'm kind of like, oh, I'm an intel officer, I'm not aviation. Not realizing how serious it was for me to learn how to be a platoon leader, a flight platoon leader, because I was about to take my troops as a detachment commander to Afghanistan. So my mindset changed. I realized how serious it was, how important it was for me to learn and understand the regulations so that I can lead from the front, so I can be that example. I also learned to stop letting people take advantage of me. You'd be very surprised, whether you're an officer or not, just come in as a second lieutenant. People who have more time in service than you may think that you don't know much. So I learned from the beginning to learn your regulations, learn everything that there is in the Army, learn your acronyms, and show them. It doesn't matter how many years you have in, it's how much time you take to gain that knowledge and information. So I think I'm more of I've always been kind of a serious person, but I think I'm more serious now. I know to stand my ground more. but in the long run, I still don't want to lose myself, the given person I am, the kind of personality that I have, caring for my soldiers, because you don't want to become a toxic leader where it's all about mission, 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 drive, and you forget that your soldiers have families. And if the home front is not taken care of, then the mission won't be taken care of. So I had to learn that balance.
All right. So in your mind, what do you consider to be a good leader?
I think a leader is a person who depends on goodwill. They also generate enthusiasm within their formation. They fix what's broken. They don't place blame. They don't depend on authority. They show you how it's done. They don't say you need to do this, get it done. They're there in the front. They're showing you even if they make a mistake. They give credit, and they don't tell you what to do. They ask you, hey, let's go. We go together. And the key word is always using the word we, not I, So I think a leader is a person who tries first, lets your troops see that they're trying. One of the things that happened to me the other day, and I think this is something that's fallen through the officer ranks, even something as simple as a PT test. A lot of commanders tend to do it on their own, or they do it with leadership. And the other day I took a PT test with my soldiers, and while we were sitting there getting weight and tape, one of the soldiers looked at me and they said, ma'am, you are the first commander who's ever taken a PT test with me. And I looked at him and I said, well, why would I not take a PT test? It's a company PT test. And he said, no, we understand, but we're telling you, you're the first commander who's ever done that. And I still, in my head, that doesn't register why a commander wouldn't, even if it wasn't your time to take the PT test, why are you not out there pacing someone, encouraging, or just showing up and being out there at 6 o'clock in the morning. So like I said, a leader is not being out front for the attention or when it's time to shake hands and meet generals and colonels and smile and wave. It's when you're out there just leading your troops, being there with them for the smallest little things, whether it's a fundraiser. In recruiting, it's the events. My soldiers got to work Saturday and Sundays. I don't have to be at every event with them, but I choose to be to at least go and be out there recruiting and prospecting. I'm not getting paid to be a recruiter, but it's what you do, and you show them how to do it. And that's what I think a leader is. Not always telling people what to do, but helping them do it. So,
yeah. I think that was an excellent answer. Really, so.
Thank you.
My last question is, do you have any advice for newly commissioned officers or anything you just want to, advise on?
Yeah, I think throughout this whole interview, I've kind of made a few points that I wanted to put for newly commissioned officers. I know I've been in for 8 years now, so sometimes I kind of forget what it was like being a cadet. Like I always say, I'm very proud of you for stepping up and doing it. But one of the things I want to tell you is never change who you are. And I had to learn that, because I think that's one of the things that I struggle with, is that you're looking at other officers or other leaders, even sergeant majors. It could be someone in the non-commissioned officer corps, and you're like, I want to be like that. But you got to remember what makes a good leader. It's their own personality, their own ways. It's their own ideas that have changed certain things in the Army. So at the end of the day, always look at your mentors. And I'll tell you, this is a newly commissioned, once you become commissioned, find a mentor. Always have a mentor. My mentor is a Fulbright colonel. She's one of the first African-American female pilots. She's aviation intel. And up to this day, I keep in touch with her. But although you have a mentor and they're going to tell you what they did and what right may be like, what wrong may be like, always follow your instinct, because you're a good leader. Just always follow yourself. Don't lose who you are. But also listen to the advice of those who've come before you. So that's pretty much one of the things that I've learned of being an officer. So, yeah. Oh, and like I always say, right place, right time, right uniform. Whether you're officer or private, you can't go wrong if you do that. And always volunteer. Put yourself out there. Go to different, orphanages, feed the homeless. That's one of the things we forget to do. It's not all about the paycheck. It's not all about fighting the mission and the wars. Also think about what you do outside in the community, too. So that's just my advice to you. Just don't lose yourself. Be yourself and make yourself a name. Make yourself a leader.
thank you so much, Captain Morton. I'm really going to take these answers and use them, and hopefully I can be successful as you are, or even more successful in my military career. And I just want to thank you again for taking your time out to get interviewed, and hopefully speak to someone. It definitely spoke to me. Thank you.
You're welcome, and I'm here if you need anything else. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Have a good one.
You too.